Look all right.
Yeah, dude. I think you're all good. I think I think you're good. I think we're live and we're solid and good to go here. Let me just pull it up on YouTube so I have it here. Let's see. Okay. Dakota, what's up, man? Jets fan, what's up? How's it going? So yeah, Tyson, obviously, man, we're kind of right in the middle of free agency. The first couple waves are over with.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of big money, big name guys go. They're off the board. Aiden, what's up, man? Mike Williams time. Yes, so supposedly the Jets are going to be meeting with Mike Williams tomorrow. He flew into Jersey today, according to the latest Josina Anderson report.
Yep.
But Tyson, what's up, dude? How's it going?
Dude, it's a big difference between a week, right? Like the free agency starts, everybody's panicking, freaking out. We're a mess. We're not signing anybody. Now you have a revamped offensive line. You have Mike Williams coming in. You have Jadeveon Clowney coming in. So there's all these different pieces going around. So it's exciting. But I want to get your take on Mike Williams since you mentioned them, because right now wide receiver 1A, wide receiver 2 is kind of like a question mark for the Jets. A lot of guys have signed elsewhere. They've been traded elsewhere. Do you feel comfortable with Mike Williams, or are you are you still in the Tyler Boyd market? Like, who do you think is the best option now for the Jets, considering who's available?
I mean, dude, considering that Rodgers, is 40 years old, we obviously made so many investments in the starting group of the offensive line. Mm-hmm. I'm all for it, right? I'm all for Mike Williams. I'm all for Tyler Boyd. I'm down for both, right? Okay. Like I'm cool with that. And by the way, can you guys hear me okay? The mic is all the way over here, and sometimes this mic gives me a little bit of an issue.
I think you're good.
But yeah, no, I mean, look, if news comes out tomorrow, right, that Williams cancels his Panthers visit, he cancels his Steelers visit, and he signs a deal with the New York Jets, of course I'm going to be pumped up. Now, is Mike Williams like the final piece? No, I don't think so. No. Right? We still need to address backup offensive line, in my opinion.
Yep.
The starting five looks great, right? Morgan Moses is back.
Yeah, but even just stand at wide receiver a second, though. So Mike Williams, it's like, all right, he's 30 years old, coming off an ACL. So, like, is there like a money limit? Are you giving a 1-year deal, incentive laden? Or are you giving like what kind of money you're throwing? Because everybody's like, we all like Mike Williams, but there is some concern, there is some risk here. Do you make it incentive laden? Like, how do you get him to sign here? Or do you say, you know what, here's 1 year, $11 million? Like, how would you handle that?
Well, I mean, it's a great question, because at the end of the day, Williams does have a lot of suitors, and there's also a rumor out there suggesting that he actually could go back to the Chargers, but at a lower number.
Yep.
But it does. What's funny, man, it looks like in regards to Mike Williams and Tyler Boyd, it's the same 4 teams: the Jets, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Panthers.
The Patriots are getting involved too. Yep.
Who did you say? New England?
The Patriots too might get involved.
Yeah. So I mean, man, gosh, you're looking at that roster just devoid of talent. I know they brought in KJ Osborne. So, and by the way, I still feel like the Patriots have like a decent amount of cap space, so they can probably offer, or them in Carolina can probably offer Williams the most money, I guess, too. Same with Tyler Boyd. But no, it's a great question. I think when it comes down to it, Mike Williams is, I mean, it's tough because he's already cashed in. He's already signed that big money deal before in the past. And he's won, lots of games, obviously not that much playoff success. But I think really what it's going to come down to is fit, right?
Yep.
What quarterback does he want to play with? Where does he want to live? And then, of course, the money is going to be a factor. But it's not like we're dealing with one of these players that is, exiting their rookie deal, kind of like a Chase Young who just signed with the Saints, 1 year, $13 million.
Crazy.
We're not, in my opinion, I don't think the Jets are in a position where we have to blow Mike Williams away money-wise. It's more so the fit that matters. Obviously I don't know Mike Williams personally or anything like that, but I would just assume that the fit probably means more or is higher up on his totem pole than just, how much he's going to be paid in the 1 or 2 or 3 years.
Now, are you looking to give him a 2-year deal? Because like it seems like the Jets trying to get everybody in line for the next 2 years, right? It's like everybody, Morstead, Zerline, everybody's got 2-year deals minus Simpson, even Simpson actually. So it's like, would you give Williams that? Is that what you're saying? Give him a 2-year deal and kind of figure, maybe incentive laden. And because you figure off an ACL, he could be good this year, but very good next year. And usually the year after the ACL recovery is the better year. Would you try to keep him in the mix that long, especially if Rodgers plays 2 more years?
Well, it's tough because, again, you just don't really know what you're getting with Mike. He's only played one full season ever in his entire career. Every other season, he's missed time. He's been hurt. He is coming off the ACL tear, like you said. I think a 2-year deal is fair. But at the end of the day, too, like you can't get too cute with it and say, okay, we like you, Mike Williams. We want you to be here, but we're not going to offer you a lot of money. The money that we do offer you is going to be incentive-based. It's going to be a short-term contract, so you don't really have much security. He's probably looking at that situation like, okay, do they really want me? Whereas Carolina is like desperate as hell, where they're like, okay, here's a lot more cash, and you know what? We're really devoid of talent at wide receiver too. I guess maybe outside of Deontay Johnson. And I guess you can maybe argue that Adam Thielen's coming off a good season, but
yeah, but what's the priority could be like, all right, the money could be somewhat equivalent, but do you want to play with Aaron Rodgers or do you want to play, you know what I mean? Like the Aaron Rodgers has got to be a selling point. Like, listen, we can make you a primary focus of our offense right to Garrett Wilson. We could do a lot of things. But the reason why I'm asking you is because you have that concern with Tyler Boyd's healthy. I'm not saying Tyler Boyd's better than Mike Williams. I'm just saying a lot of their stats are comparable. He's healthier. You know what you're getting. Like what's the drop off between Mike Williams and Tyler Boyd, do you think?
Well, I think it's just two different positions, really.
Right.
I think if we want to upgrade from Randall Cobb on the inside, right, somebody who can hurt defenses over the middle of the field, somebody who can, really do damage like in crossing patterns, those third and mediums, third and sevens, third and nines, Tyler Boyd's the guy.
Right.
Right. I also think he might be a little bit cheaper than Mike Williams.
Yep.
Whereas, like, for example, if you bring in Tyler Boyd, I think maybe trying to target a perimeter option at 10 might make more sense.
Right.
Whereas if you go out and sign Mike Williams, the chances of you maybe drafting like Odunze compared to like a Brock, like it would probably maybe more so lean Brock Bowers or another offensive lineman or what have you. I think it really just comes down to, for the Jets, price plus fit. And I think both guys do fit. But I do kind of get the sense that the Jets, just reading the tea leaves, it does kind of feel like they're more interested in Mike Williams than they are in Tyler Boyd.
I think so too. I think they kind of realized that Boyd's probably going to the Steelers. That's been the hint for the last like 3 or 4 days. But the interesting thing is a lot of Beckham things too. Now, can Beckham and Mike Williams happen? Or exactly, that's why we're like the Jets were high on Beckham last year. They thought they were going to get him, and then the Ravens blew him away. Could they actually do both of them, or you think it's one or the other?
It's tough, man. See, the thing is, I don't feel like OBJ by himself is enough.
Right.
I know you probably feel the same.
Yep.
But I think when it comes down to it, if the Jets can land Mike Williams and Odell Beckham Jr., it's going to be a lot of money dumped in a wide receiver, along with Allen Lazard's contract, because we still have to pay him.
Yep.
Which, obviously is unfortunate, right? Essentially 3 years left on a deal, double-digit cap hit as the wide receiver 4. Yep. I think what's maybe more realistic is either like a Mike Williams and like Valdez-Scantling.
Oh.
Or something like that, as opposed to, because look, if Beckham got 15 mil a year ago, I don't see him going from like 15 mil down to like 3 mil or 4
He
mil.
had 35 catches though. I mean, how much could he possibly want?
I'm not saying that he deserves that much. I'm just saying from his perspective, him and his agent might maybe value what they bring to a team higher than what the actual coming off of what was it, the Rams? Like nobody thought he was going to get 15 with Baltimore.
Yep.
He even like the numbers prior, it didn't look like 15 mil. I mean, where do you kind of stand with the receivers? I guess maybe the better question is, who's your top option? Like your plan A moving forward, realistically speaking, Boyd, Williams, maybe draft pick at 10.
I mean, I like Williams like everybody else does. The ACL just gets me concerned where it's like, all right, you can get him, but I still want another legitimate guy behind him. I don't count Allen Lazard. I respect Brownlee. I respect Gibson, all them, but you want like a third option. So it's like, all right, you get Williams, either draft number 10, do it there. If you want to bring in Beckham, I don't think Beckham is going to be expensive. People think, but you want 2 more pieces, right? I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with this. And that's kind of like what we'll talk about later on. But it's like, if just say you get Mike Williams and you feel content there in free agency in the draft, in this draft class, I'm making wide receiver a priority. I'm 1,000% making a priority because you want as many weapons as humanly possible. Because my fear is if Garrett Wilson, God forbid, goes down, you don't want to be stuck where it's like, oh, here we go again, where we're just stuck. You're stuck in the mud, can't find anybody to throw the ball to.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I I mean, I really feel like that goes. You can make that same argument with multiple positions too. You know, with offensive line, like, oh, Tyron Smith goes down. What the heck's the plan? You know,
Well, we're
so
going to talk about that, but that's Joe Douglas's job right now. Like Joe Douglas is getting credit for what he did, but the NFL is about just surviving. It's surviving the injuries. What is your level of depth and what is your level of coaching? And right now they're lacking depth and at premium position, and it's concerning. So they got the backup quarterback, which is great, but wide receiver you can't screw around with, especially with Aaron Rodgers in this window, man. Like this is it. Like, and you know, you kind of want to maximize as much as you possibly can with this. So, I mean, Williams will be interesting. I'm curious what the money is. If he goes somewhere else, I'm not necessarily going to panic. I think they still have other options available, but it's going to be interesting though, because now I think you're starting to see all the excitement with the Jet fans now, right? Everybody's kind of buying in now. Like now we're getting greedy a little bit, but like you said, he could say, you know what, I want this. I want X amount of dollars. I have 3 other suitors. Take it or leave it with the Jets. And how do they handle that?
Yeah, dude, 100%. And that's it. We're still in a position now, too, where it's like I feel like a lot of the Jets targets have a lot of options.
Yep.
Right. Even like with Odell Beckham Jr., like there's a chance he could go to the Chiefs. You know, like there's Tyler Boyd. Right. Obviously, we talked about Pittsburgh and whatnot. Mike Williams. Like there's quite, and even like the swing tackles. Right. Like Josh Nijman just signed with the Panthers, I believe, and that was like a guy who I felt like, hey, maybe makes some sense bouncing over left tackle, you know, or he can play tackle or guard. I felt like, you know, that potentially could have worked, but now he's off the board. So I do want the Jets to kind of strike in the depth positions, and it's not just at wide receiver and offensive line, but also running back too.
That's where I was going to go next, to be honest with you, because like this is all about improving the offense, and we all love Breece Hall, love him, but you need a legitimate, 1B or like high 2 to when he comes out and spells him. It's not a huge drop off. We like Izzy, but Izzy isn't that guy. He's got a long way to go in terms of improving at a running back. You want a guy that can pick up the blitz, consistent pass protector, a good pass catcher out of the backfield, can get the short yardage stuff. So you see guys like Ezekiel Elliott. I saw Madison got signed today. I kind of liked him a little bit. But then it's like, and they're not getting paid big money where it's like, but I want that guy. Like everybody keeps telling me, just draft the running back, just draft the running back. I'd rather not do that and get a guy that's been in the NFL, been there, done that, knows the NFL offense, can work, in sync with Aaron Rodgers and go from there. I think that can happen. I don't think it's crazy to say that.
Yeah, and like another thing too, I guess maybe in like my running back wish list. But actually, before we dive into that, Hennessy, dude, thank you so much, bro. Really appreciate it. He says, pick 10. What are we doing, fellas? A lot of options. So I guess we can kind of just jump right to the draft here. I'll let you kind of take it away first. What are you kind of thinking?
Now I'm just gonna get booed for this, and it's fine. But I like the revamped offensive line, and right now I'm focused on playmakers on the offense. That's what I want. I'm kind of hoping the Jets can go get Bakhtiari. I don't know if Donovan Smith's on yet or not, but get signed veteran offensive linemen as your backup and your depth. My first round pick is a playmaker, receiver, Bowers. I don't care, but if one of them there, I want to take them. I want to stockpile this offense, man. Like I want game breaking talent there. So I know, and then people are saying, well, if Alt and Fashanu were there, obviously you kind of think about it where it's like if Alt's sitting there, you're gonna have to take him. But I don't think the two top left tackles are going to be there. So I'm going wide receiver. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I was actually putting together a mock draft today, and it really came down to the debate: Odunze or Bowers. And of course, we have to still see what happens with Mike Williams. He's kind of like the domino.
Yep.
Because if he signs with Pittsburgh or Carolina or whoever, say Williams signs with Carolina and Tyler Boyd goes to Pittsburgh, I think it's 90% wide receiver over tight end at that point. Right. I guess offensive line, is still probably in play, but my kind of, I guess, plan A, if we don't land Mike Williams, is a wide receiver. Now, I'll throw this out there. I haven't done a video on it. I'm planning to. Brian Thomas, dude from LSU, man. I know he's being mocked in to like Bengals, like whatever it is, like 18, 17, somewhere around there. And he's being mocked to teams in like the lower 20s, but there's something about him, dude.
Yep.
I would consider him at spot number 10. I personally like Thomas a ton. In my opinion, he's like the third best receiver in the class. If the Jets draft Thomas at 10, I do not think it'll be a reach.
No, I agree. And the other thing too that we really haven't talked about, where it's like, I'm not truly opposed to trading back too. Trade back a few spots and get a second round pick. I'd be kind of happy with that as well, because you want to recoup that pick. You want to add depth and quality, a second round pick. You figure it's got to be quality, ignoring the Jets' history of bad second round picks. But that's something to consider too. If you can trade, say, if you trade back 5 or 6 spots, and you can get Bowers maybe or whoever, and then get a second round pick, and then go offensive line there. Like, I think trading back has got to be on the table at this point. You would think, because you feel a little more comfortable, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, if we can net a second round pick in a small trade back, dude, if we bounce back to like where the Raiders are at with 13, or if Denver maybe wants to come up. Granted, it's projected right now that the Vikings are probably going to try to shoot to the top of the draft somewhere within that 5 to 7 range. Presumably for a quarterback here. But if the Jets can shoot back for just a couple of spots and get a second round pick or a future pick or something like that, I would be all for it. Yep. Because like you said, there's multiple players in my opinion that make sense. Whether it's like a Neighbors or Odunze Fall, Brian Thomas again, Brock Bowers. And if the Jets, if they want to stick at offensive line, I'm not going to be looking at that like, what are we doing? What a waste, right? Nobody saw that coming, because the Jets just, we don't really have a lot of luck on, when it comes to the injuries.
Well, let's go into that, because there's been a lot of feedback. Yeah, I saw that today. Chris Trim's, he's set the world on fire with his rankings. But there's a lot of things about that where it's just like, look at the Jets' offensive line. Now, I think the last time we talked, I don't think the Morgan Moses trade happened yet. I'm getting forgetful at this point. But
no, I don't think so.
I don't think it did. So we're like, the Jets need 3 starters. They now have 3 starters. And you look at the price that they got them for. It's dude, you're like, Joe Douglas did a really good job, but there is some risk. They're older. Tyron Smith, everybody knows his injury history. He hasn't, not playing 17 games. He misses time. Morgan Moses was banged up a little bit last year. He was getting like platooned in and out. So you figure if you keep him on a pitch count and the Jets handle him smartly as veterans, which Saleh always does, that's your best chance to do it. But they're very good players. I think it's like they're upgrades. Now, there's risk associated with it, but I think with the hand that Joe Douglas was dealt when he created for himself, this is probably the best he can do in terms of like how he uses cap space. But, 1-year deal for Smith, Morgan Moses, it's like you got to find your replacements down the line. Like you want to have like your short-term plan, your long-term plan. I guess that's where your draft comes in too. We're like, all right, if you can get that guy in the first round, that kind of, he can learn from Tyron Smith. What a better mentor than that. You can't, that's perfect. And then you go that way with your depth. So it's interesting, man. It just, the offensive line is improved, but I just want my plan B to be a very good depth, like a very good chess piece behind there, because if they do go down, you don't want to have Aaron Rodgers running for his life.
Yeah, dude. I mean, 1,000%. Like, and I think I actually mentioned this in the video where we signed Tyron Smith. I think it was like Friday night or something, but it was like, I want more.
Yep, me too.
Yes, Tyron Smith is a huge upgrade. Him healthy out there is phenomenal. I'm pumped up about it. But the starting lineup for the New York Jets in 2023 looked pretty good too.
Yep.
But once injuries started to pile up, once we had, things kind of not go our way, we saw the weaknesses, right? The red flags instantly pop up in week 1. Let's avoid that same situation and add depth.
Yep.
We had chance after chance after chance last year, and we just passed and passed and passed. We have an opportunity to right the wrongs.
Yep.
And to load the offensive lineup with talent. The Jets still have cap space. We're not like over and we have to figure something out. We got to cut, have a cap casualty.
Yep.
We haven't restructured John Franklin Myers' deal.
Nope.
We have not extended DJ Reed, which could potentially open up more cap space.
Nope.
We haven't got rid of Zach Wilson. If he does get traded, long shot, but we can open up more cap space in that rate, in that realm as well.
Yep.
I mean, whether it's Bakhtiari, whether it's somebody else,
it's got to be Bakhtiari. But that's a smart. Like if you bring him in now behind Tyron Smith, I'm completely cool with it. No problem whatsoever, because veteran, not being forced to start, depth, talent, like that's the kind of guys you want. Like that's exactly. Like I'm greedy, dude. Like I want spend the money on the offensive line. Let's not get cheap now. Like let's not say Joe Douglas is a genius and then not sign anybody else. Keep adding more pieces. And I know they want to rely on Carter Warren for some things. Respect to Carter Warren. I want better right now. You want like more of a known product over the unknown, the raw guy that's saying he's getting developed. So Bakhtiari's no problem, dude. I would do that in a heartbeat right now.
Yeah, depending on asking price,
yeah, of course,
whatnot, of course. But yeah, no, I mean, I think you're spot on because the last place you want to be is where we were week one of 2023,
Yep.
right? Rogers go. I mean, I guess Rogers is a different story, quarterback, and just the magnitude that he brings. But imagine week two, Tyron Smith goes down.
Yep.
It's like I don't want to be screwed,
Yep.
and we just have a turnstile at left tackle. But we still have those opportunities in free agency to add some of these vets to bolster the line. I mean, you got to think that some of these guys would come in as upgrades, as the number two as well, which, I think is huge. In fact, I'm going to actually pull up the free agent list. Well, I guess we'll kind of go through position by position.
Yep.
Offensive line and running back, because I do feel like it's really interesting to kind of just, scan the market, see who's out there. But Michael, dude, thanks so much, man. I did see Chris Sims' wide receiver ranks actually like 10 minutes before I kicked this thing off. I was talking to my brother about it. But yeah, I mean, Brian Thomas, I agree with him. I agree. I mentioned it once in a video. I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago or something like that. And I was getting roasted, but I really like Brian Thomas a lot, dude. And like I said, if we end up picking him at 10, I wouldn't be mad at all. I think he's an underrated gem for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
But let's see here. As I'm trying to pull up this list, it's taking a minute to load.
Yeah, because there's for running backs, I think I was in the gym for the last couple hours, but like J.K. Dobbins is out there, Ezekiel Elliott, Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt, I think is out there. Like there's interesting names out there where it's just like if you can get a legitimate running back that's going to come cheap, that can pick up the blitz and catch the ball in the backfield, I'm down. And then you draft the guy because I don't want to rely on a rookie running back this year if Breece Hall gets banged up. I want a guy that's already here, an NFL caliber running back already established.
Shoot, man, we got options. We got a lot of options.
There is.
Right, so let's start with offensive line. Okay, let's just do guard and tackle so it's easier, right?
Yep.
Just throwing out names that could be upgrades, realistic upgrades as backup options for the Jets here. First up, David Bakhtiari, right? I think that makes a ton of sense. 1 year, $3 million, 1 year, $4 million. I think a left tackle combo of Tyron Smith, if something were to happen, Bakhtiari behind him, I think you're in a really, really good position there. Funny enough, the next person on this list is Laken Tomlinson, so we'll pass right by that. We got Charles Leno from Washington. How do you feel about him? 32 years old. Coming off a season where didn't really perform all that great. Has had some good seasons before in the past, but not really. Like there's a reason why he's getting cut.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where you're thinking about. Like, we're not asking him to start. We're asking him to be a very good replacement if he has to step in. Like, which level of comfort there? I guess the other problem, this is my problem, is like, what's our level of comfort with our coaching staff maximizing his potential and making him actually play better? Like you say maybe the Washington staff was kind of on their way out. They're kind of, their things are kind of falling apart there. Can he come here and be like, we're going to right the ship here and get you back on track? Do you have any level of confidence in our staff doing that? I kind of get worried with that. I don't, just because I'm kind of cynical. I mean, what do you think? Like,
yeah, I mean, well, I think it's interesting because he is he's a veteran and he has played good football before in the past. But like you said, dude, like Keith Carter, Hackett, the people running the offensive side of the football, I just don't trust. I just don't look at the staff and view them as, oh man, they're getting the best out of the players.
That's the problem.
They're maximizing their strengths. If anything, I think they're hurting the players, which sucks. But again, it is just my opinion here. Michael, Dalton Reisner, Josh Jones. I think those two options would be fantastic.
I'm surprised Dalton's still out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he put up some weird tweet. I think it was a couple days ago, essentially just saying like watch the film. Like I've been good. Kind of, I guess he's confused too on why. And that kind of tells me too he doesn't really have much interest or any offers out there.
Well, the other one that would sign with the Lions just now was it Zeitler. He signed too, but I was like, this is only a 1 year deal too. Like it wasn't like a big deal for him either. I was surprised by. I know he's a little bit older, but I was like, man, I thought he was kind of a guy that I was thinking about earlier on in free agency.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Zeitler's playing some of the best football in his career. Like, crazy enough. But going on the list here, we got Andres Pete. Doesn't really, I guess as a backup, maybe. Skip by Dwayne Brown here. Andre Dillard, not really all that great, but I do believe he was picked, or was a draft pick when Douglas was in Philly.
Yep.
So I mean, Andre Dillard as a backup tackle option, I don't think you can. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world, especially if he's coming in on a super, super cheap deal.
Yeah.
Connor Williams, center / guard from Miami. I view him as a starter. I think he's probably going to end up on a team where he's, where he is a starter. Trent Brown from the New England Patriots.
Yep.
Interesting option there.
For sure. Yep.
Because I mean, the size is crazy. What is he, like 6'7", 300 something pounds?
Yep.
At times has looked absolutely dominant, but there's some social media stuff. There's like little rumors and whatnot of when the team isn't doing well, he'll just like mail it in and whatever. So I don't necessarily know if that's the best like culture locker room fit. Let's see here. I mean, nobody really kind of jumps off. Donovan Smith.
Yep.
Like you said, I think that would make a ton of sense if the Jets can add him as a veteran backup.
And he said he wanted to play here, didn't he? He said he wanted to play.
No, he said it was his dream to play.
Yeah,
even
come
better.
Cheap, man. Come here cheap. We'll do it.
Yeah, we get some ex-Jets surprise. Okay, so we got Chuma Edoga, Greg Van Roten, Billy Turner, 3 straight ex-Jets. Let's see. That really kind of rounds out this list here of, I want to say like reliable upgrade backup options compared to what we had a year ago. Everybody else is kind of like on the same page. But let me just swap over to running back real quick and kind of check that out. But the point is we have options.
Yeah.
At offensive line here.
Well, this is where you get the most bang for your buck, man. This is where Joe Douglas has to shine, where he's kind of being frugal with his, not frugal, but he's being really conservative with his money. Now's when you get your value, because these guys are sitting around second wave of free agency. That's when you get the most out of it. And I think you can get that offensive line. Running back is interesting, man, because I want one badly. We talked about Ezekiel Elliott last year, but some of these guys, man, it's like they're good. And it's not like they're not being burdened to be the starter. They're like, you're going to be a complimentary back, maybe some short yardage, give Breece Hall a spell, and that's it. And you can get good value there. So, I mean, I think there's some pretty good names. I think somebody said Cam Akers. I love Cordell Patterson too. I saw Jesse mention him. I've always loved him because he's like the Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. He can be a receiver, running back, returner. He can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And Tony, real quick. Yeah, Chase Young got 13 million, 13 guaranteed mil. And supposedly because I was doing a little bit of research. I like the Saints, so I was doing like a little bit of research. And supposedly Chase Young had like a big sit-down dinner with Dennis Allen, Tyrann Mathieu was there. A lot of different figureheads for the Saints.
Yeah. And
so it was like the Saints right now are kind of looking at this deal like, man, they went out and got a premium pass rusher to lock down that side of the defensive line. Because, I mean, man, the Saints really need help at pass rushers here. But, Allison, thank you so much. Is it rumors? I ran the campaign. I'm not really too sure.
OBJ.
Yeah,
OBJ at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure. Like, I guess in regards to Odell Beckham, we were kind of talking a little bit about it before. I don't think he would really push the needle all that much.
He's an upgrade.
He is an upgrade. That's true. But I don't know if the acquisition of OBJ is just like, okay, the Jets are going from, like a bottom tier wide receiving group now all of a sudden towards the top, or we're above average or anything like that. I think he just makes us slightly better. But that's just kind of my.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's consistent. He's consistent. He's good. Like a third or fourth option in this offense works for me. I wouldn't mind it at all.
Yeah, but Allison, we definitely appreciate the super chat. And by the way, Tyson, if you wanted to kind of dive into what you got going on, I believe it's this weekend, right?
Yeah, real quick. So I'm doing a fundraiser this weekend. It starts Friday night at 5:00 to 1:00 on Sunday. It's 5 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So 60 miles in 48 hours, which is crazy. But I'm raising money for our disabled veterans. A lot of our veterans are suffering in silence, and they need help. So the organization that I'm helping out, they give rides back and forth to the hospitals. They help them get jobs. They help them, the ones that are unemployed. They do a lot of really cool things. So I'm trying to raise money. I'm trying to raise awareness. Also raising mental health awareness as well, because people are just struggling, man. Tough times out there. It's a chaotic world. So just trying to help raise awareness and raise some funds for our veterans. So I'll put the link on my social media. It's all over the place. And I want to thank everybody for support. Ian, you helped me promote it. A lot of people helped me promote it, man. I really appreciate it. As of now, I raised over $2,500, which is super cool. And then that's it. We'll see what happens. So I have till Monday to raise money. So this is my last little push here to do it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, dude. So are you going to document the run at all or no?
Yeah, it's a David Goggins challenge, but David Goggins is 4 miles every 4 hours for 48. I'm making mine 5 because I'm making mine harder, trying to raise more awareness. So yeah, and the part of it is every 4 hours you got to document and prove that you actually did it. So you have like your watch, you prove it, you show it, and so you hold yourself accountable. And if you don't make it, you don't make it. It's not going to be easy. I had a hard time doing it. I did 54 miles last year, and I was dying. So I'm sure this is going to be a lot harder. But yeah, you document it, full transparency. All the donations, when I'm done, when I donate, you'll see the actual receipt that I give to the foundation. Like I don't make any money on this stuff at all. It's all about just giving back. And it's the organization sanctioned too. It's a legitimate, they're like 20 minutes from my house, a chapter of disabled American veterans. So it's be interesting, man. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for all the support. And if you can't donate, no problem at all. If you help me spread the word. And it's not even donating towards my fundraiser. You can donate directly to them. It's dav.org. They desperately need help, and it'd be awesome to get help out.
Yeah, and Tyson, I don't know if you have access to like the chat here on StreamYard, but if you do, just drop the link.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so thank you for letting me promote it. So thank you guys for doing. Yeah, it's just when you talk to the veterans and you hear the stories of things they deal with, man, I just can't help to just you got to help them, man. It's just they serve our country. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do.
For sure, man. Yeah, no, it's totally awesome. And I can't wait to see you kind of document everything. But Jesse, what's up? Jadeveon Clowney might be a Jet. Where do you kind of stand with that? Because that news kind of, I remember I was out that night and I like looked down at my phone. I was leaving. I was at this like rooftop thing over in St. Pete, and I like looked down. I'm like, oh man, the Jets or Jadeveon Clowney is visiting the Jets. Like, man, this is like out of left field. And I was thinking back to like what he was doing with the Ravens, a year ago, 9.5 sacks, had like a bounce back season, he kind of seems like an every other year type of guy, but he had that first year with Cleveland, which was great. And then the second year was just kind of quiet, and then ends up in Baltimore and pops off. So where do you kind of stand with Jadeveon Clowney and, his potential fit with the Jets?
He doesn't come cheap. We know that. So good player, great player, but it's about, I don't know, man. Like I'm still pissed they let go of Bryce Huff. I'm still annoyed by the whole Bryce Huff thing. And then you see the report about Quentin Jefferson where the Jets wanted to match it and they couldn't have gotten back for $3 million, but they were slow responding to it. So it's like they have moves here. It's just, I guess it's a dynamic piece of defensive line. The defensive line is going to be ferocious depending on what player you get. You figure it's probably going to be a 1-year deal, motivated by a great contract, motivated to probably play with the Jets and Rodgers. It'll be interesting, man. That defensive line would be sick. But I'm just wondering what the money is going to be for him.
Yeah, and like I do feel like at some point the Jets have got to like draw the line with the money that they're investing on the defense side of the football, and maybe because I got to be honest, there's things that Saleh does that do bother me, like in press conferences and the offense side of the football. But the one thing about Robert Saleh, his defense is ball. And he can develop defensive linemen. I feel like with or without Jadeveon Clowney, we're going to be fine. We can get after the quarterback. I think that was the whole point in drafting Will McDonald. So in the event that Huff leaves, we have, a high ceiling type of player right there to attack quarterbacks. I think, and it's not to say I'm going to be mad, right, or angry if the Jets sign Clowney, but it's like, how much more money are we going to invest in the defensive line, in the defense? If we're just counting dollars by dollars.
I'll give you a situation. Would you rather have Clowney or would you rather have Williams and OBJ?
I mean, I got to go with the wide receivers.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I respect Saleh for his defensive prowess. I respect Saleh for wanting the ferocious defensive line. You let Huff go. Jefferson's gone. Woods is gone. So I understand why you want Clowney. But if I can spend money on the offensive line and getting Bakhtiari and get Williams and get OBJ instead of doing Clowney, I'm doing that. It's great to have a top defense, but the offense has got to be your primary goal, right? Your primary focus right now, right? Like that's the whole thing. It's like they have cap space, but Clowney's not coming cheap by no means. So
yeah, I think Clowney was scheduled to meet another team. I think it was the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Carolina's out here spending a ton of money too, by the way. They made the trade for Deontay Johnson. They bring in Robert Hunt. They're man, it's a super interesting team with Canales taking over and whatnot. So Allison, huge super chat. Thank you so much. You did not have to do that. So one thing I love on the channel though is, I mean, I'm obviously a huge football fan, right?
Yeah.
Live, breathe, eat football, and I don't really get into a ton of other stuff here on the
Mm-mm.
channel. So, with that said, I appreciate it. $50 is insane. I was not expecting to see that. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Clowney's
Kay,
Clowney's interesting though, but it's just like you understand the name, you understand the excitement behind him, what he could bring to the table, but it's like that money is it money well spent? They brought Solomon Thomas back, which is good. You have Kinlaw, like you said, like how much money can you invest in this defensive line? And at some point, you say, you know what, you have enough. Solid, coach him up. Ulbrich, coach him up, and put these resources on the offense. That's
yeah.
kind of where I'm at.
Holmes, what's up, man? Always look forward to your comments. Ian Hart's Bakhtiari. When he's healthy and he's good to go, like he's still like above average
As a
for sure.
backup, bring him in. Sign him
Yeah.
tomorrow. I'm down.
I mean, yeah, and like another thing too, like when we're talking about all these, free agents that are still out in the open market, we have to ask the question, what other teams could be interested in them? And like in regards to David Bakhtiari, is anybody really going to hand him a contract to be like the go-to starter?
No.
I mean, he was cut from Green Bay with a failed physical.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So is there like a team that's maybe in a better position to win that's going to say, oh, Bakhtiari, you're the missing piece?
Yeah.
Probably not. Like when I'm thinking of the teams that need a left tackle specifically that could maybe take a risk, on a free agent, it's like New England. New England's starting left tackle today is Connor McDermott, the ex-practice squad Jets player.
Yep.
Or like Washington, but like the Chiefs or like are one of these teams really going to hand out like a lot of money to Bakhtiari to go,
I don't think so.
Be the starter? I just don't know. So I actually do think Bakhtiari makes a ton of sense as a backup option.
And does he come here on a discount to finish his career with Aaron Rodgers? They can finish their career together, playing together. There's something too where it's got to be a consideration, right? That's something that they probably talked about in the past. And it's like you want a chance to win, and then he's a perfect insurance policy. He's a perfect mentor for all these young guys you have too, which is good. So to me, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So Michael's saying that Clowney will not be expensive.
Oof.
I mean, he's coming off one of his best pass rushing seasons.
Like 9.5 sacks, wasn't it?
Yeah, 9.5 sacks, and he had a lot of quarterback pressures. I think this is probably going to be his last kind of chance to cash in his NFL career. So, man, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, Clowney's probably going to ask for. I mean, if Kinlaw, an unproven player, is getting, what was it, 6.9 guaranteed?
Yeah,
that can still go up. I think Clowney off the edge is going to get a D, and especially too if the Carolina Panthers have interest, like I think he's going to get a lot, man. Not saying like 15 mil or anything crazy, but I think like 8 to 10.
Yeah, I think so
annually.
Too. Yep.
But Big Rush, what's up, man? Hey guys, how does the cap from Tyson?
Not me. Don't get me involved in this.
How does the
Tyron.
cap from Tyson, since with upwards of
Tyron? It's Tyron Smith.
Oh yeah, what am I doing? How does the cap from Tyron Smith, since with the upwards of 20 mil, but 6 mil guaranteed? How much is actually going towards the cap, whether he hits the
probably
incentives or not towards the year? So I don't think we have the full actual breakdown as of right now. But like you said, dude, it's 6 mil guaranteed. I would assume it's based off of playing time.
Yep. Yeah.
Because there's not really stats. Like you can't say like, oh, touchdowns or catches or tackles or whatever. I would assume it's probably playing time.
Yep.
I don't think the details have been fully released yet. But in much like, I mean, there's still free agent contracts that we still don't even know the full price breakdown.
It's coming out slowly. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all going to be slowly coming out. And when it does actually drop, of course, we're gonna probably both have videos up on it. But dude, thank you so much for the 20, man. You did not have to do that. It really means a lot. Pete, yeah, we need a good quarterback 3. We have 2 older quarterbacks. We need insurance. I agree with that, man. We're seeing these young quarterbacks go for nothing, right? Sam Howell got traded. Justin Fields got traded. Kenny Pickett got traded. Give me a sec. I got to let my cat out here at the door. She's scratching, but
I'll, I'll keep talking. No,
all right,
but
cool.
I think quarterback 3 for me, it's like, do you want to pick one up or do you want to draft one? And for me, it's like the 4th round, you can go draft one. I mean, I'm not looking. I guess you can try to go for a younger guy, an unproven guy, a guy's been bounced around a little bit. But Ian, wouldn't you like consider the draft for your young quarterback?
I would. The only pushback with the draft, though, is do you want that young quarterback being developed by Nathaniel Hackett?
Do you want learning from Aaron Rodgers?
That's the pushback. Because I mean, because I guess you can always say, if Rodgers is here, Hackett's going to be here too.
Yep.
Which take kind of it's like a double-edged sword, right? I think at the end of the day, though, it wouldn't be a bad idea if the Jets selected, Spencer Rattler in the late, round 4 or something like that, or Michael Pratt from Tulane or something, a young developmental guy. I don't think that would be considered a bad pick. But I agree with what Pete is saying here. Whether it's through the draft or we're acquiring some sort of young, talented quarterback that has a lot left to prove, or has a ceiling that has yet to be reached, I'm all for adding a 3rd quarterback, because he is right. Tyrod does get hurt quite a lot,
and we're all in agreement that Zach is going to be gone, whether he's going to be released or traded. I think there's no way in living hell he's on this roster on the week 1 of the season. We agree with that? I mean, his value is going to be he's worth like a bag of donuts at this point. He's got no value, but
I mean,
Zach's
I think at this point, dude, it's just hard to imagine him with the New York Jets.
Yep.
So, but yeah, Nick, what is your all-time Jets free agent? This is pretty tough. Faneca is probably like that instant impact, but that was so long ago. I'm trying to think of a recent one. I mean, the trade with Brandon Marshall was crazy when that happened, but that's not really a free agency signing.
No.
It's tough. I mean, when Revis got brought back, I was super pumped up, but
that's a tough question. Your favorite all-time Jets free agent signing? They've been bad for so long. It's just, you got to really think of somebody.
Yeah, LT was cool when we brought him in. DJ Reed, I mean, he's got to be up there. He's totally outperforming that contract too.
Yep.
It's a good question, man. Unfortunately, we have a lot of like Trumaine Johnsons and whatnot. A lot of guys that just haven't worked out throughout the years, but
they traded for Curtis Martin, so it's not him.
Yeah, I think if I had to say one, it would probably be one from like 10, 12 years ago, which I don't necessarily know if that's kind of what you want to hear, or if you're kind of referencing like the Joe Douglas era, / Mike McCagnon era. But CJ Mosley also pretty, I know he's getting paid a lot, but he's really like the heartbeat of the defense. He's a leader. Obviously, the statistics are right there as well. Rox, what's up, man? If we draft Bowers, is Conklin gone? I don't think so, because we cut Uzama. And I do think that Douglas wants to roll with the 3 tight ends.
Yeah, and also too, as great as Bowers is, Conklin's already reliable and already like a target in this offense. Like, why not have both of them? Use your resources. That's like making your position a strength. Why would you take away from your strength? Like that makes your like that position like a diverse, like explosive group. Don't take away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to hope, Rucker comes along and kind of emerges too. He's kind of been banged up a lot too. He's got to take a next step. Yeah,
dude, 100%. So Alex, first off, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate that. When do you think we pull the trigger on Bakhtiari? I feel like it could be any time, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's like a summer signing too.
Yeah.
Because I actually did see something come out today about Bakhtiari's health.
Oh, with the physical?
Something about, he feels like he should be ready to go by week 1, or it kind of just seems like a agency type of statement like, hey, we're all good over here.
I think but don't you think that could be kind of like right after the draft, like where teams right now are trying to see what holes they're going to fill. They go through the draft. They may not fill that hole then. Like, now we'll explore Bakhtiari because we don't have that depth piece or that other competition piece we need. He may wait till after the draft and see maybe his market will be bigger then.
Yeah. Yep. That is true too. K-Dude, what's up, man? Dude, thanks so much. What are your guys' thoughts on Derek Barnett? Edge drafted by Joe Douglas in Philly could be a cheap depth option on the edge. Also love you guys, dude. Love you too, man. Thanks so much. I always see you in the chat and the comments, dude. And for a long time too now. Don't think it goes unnoticed, but I wouldn't mind it. I do like Derek Barnett. dude was an animal back at Tennessee and had some, some good moments in games with the Eagles. I would be all for that.
I think I wanted like the last 3 years I wanted him.
Yeah, he's always kind of like a trade deadline guy that I've always, because of that reason, like you mentioned, I always felt like the Jets should be interested in him, but it just never really panned out.
I agree.
Michael, what's up, man? Dude, thanks so much. Way I see it, defense is already elite. We need bodies for days offensively. I'm talking 2 more free agent tackles / guards, a Mike Williams / OBJ, and draft an early receiver. It couldn't hurt.
Yep.
I really don't believe that would hurt the team.
That makes the most sense, man. Like, stockpile your offense. That's been your priority the entire offseason. That's what it is. Like, you're taking a calculated risk with, Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith. Get depth in there, right? You need it. Let's be honest. AVT coming off another injury. We love AVT. We think he's a great player when healthy. He hasn't been healthy, dude. So get, depth, quality pieces, and stack them up. And I'm all about receiver, man. I would add 2 more receivers, 3 more receivers. You can never have enough at this point, especially with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Like, another thing too, it's like in regards to, whatever it is, Derek Barnett, like we were just talking about, or Jadeveon Clowney. We have depth at those positions. We have starters in depth, like edge, for example.
Yep.
Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, JFM, Michael Clemens. 4 guys that could rotate in and out. And not to mention, we still haven't hit the draft. So does Douglas want to, or Saleh, like, do they fall in love with somebody in like round 3, round 4? We do have those 2 4th-round picks. So, and also too, like waiver claims, I think defensively we're going to be fine.
Well, I think you need a safety, right? Because I'm surprised Ashton Davis isn't back yet. I kind of thought that was like a foregone conclusion. Special teams guy, he's been getting better and better each year, like kind of slowly, but he's improving. And I'm like, oh, he's a lock to come back, and he's not back yet. I'm like, is he looking for like what, more playing time somewhere else, or what is he looking for?
Well, I think the thing is with that, there's so many safeties available. There's so many big, like Quandre Diggs is still out there. Simmons is still out there. Blackman is still out there. He's visiting Buffalo. I believe Micah Hyde is still out there as well. Poyer signed with the Dolphins. Like, bottom line, there's a lot of safety still out there. I feel like Ashton's probably going to be maybe one of those like mid-May signings or something like that, like after the draft. But I definitely do feel like we're
and another guy too. Like, again, I haven't watched Twitter the last 3 or 4 hours, but I'm surprised Justin Hardy's not back. I don't think he has been. And I know like they like Irv Charles a lot as a gunner, but are you surprised Hardy's not back in the mix right now?
I am, because I felt like that was going to get done with the other 2 special teams key pieces in Zerline and Morstead. But again, I do feel like he's going to be back at some point in time. It's your boy Oscar. What's up, man? Ian, we need to stay away from Brock Bowers. Taking a tight end that high would be a mistake. When we could potentially get guys like Neighbors, Odunze, Thomas Jr., Worthy, etc. We don't even properly utilize tight ends. So I was actually just talking about this with my brother, and he's kind of under the same mindset. Like, why take a tight end that high? You can take a look at other like highly regarded tight ends. Like, it's not like a for sure thing that they're going to work out. Like, Eric Ebron, probably the first one that comes to mind. Kyle Pitts hasn't really had the numbers. Noah Fant is on his 2nd team. It's not like a sure thing. And, I definitely feel like there is merit to that. But I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of Joe Douglas, or trying to look at the draft through Douglas's eyes and how he's viewing it.
Yep.
And if we think back to the War Room video that was released last year from the Jets, and Tyson, we talked about this.
Yes.
He was thinking about taking Michael Mayer at 15. Bowers is a much better prospect than Mayer, and Mayer ended up going in round 2 to the Raiders. So if he's still, under that mindset with the 10th pick and Bowers is there, I could. And by the way, that was a year we had Uzama, on the roster. It was a year younger of Rucker, a year younger of Conklin. We're now, 1 year removed from that day. I could feel like when talking about a better prospect, Douglas would still pull the trigger on that. But I'm with you. I think if it comes down to wide receiver or tight end, I'm opting for wide receiver.
Yeah, but the other point of that too is he says, I like you, Oscar, a lot. We're friends, Oscar, but you say we don't evenly properly utilize tight ends. We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers run this offense yet. He's about getting the ball in the hands of the guys that are open. They're about featuring, taking advantage of mismatches. If Bowers is an instant mismatch, they could actually feature him and do a lot of things with him. In theory, if Hackett was competent and Rodgers is playing at a high level, they could do a lot of things. It's not like Rodgers hasn't used tight ends in the past at Green Bay. So I understand what he's saying, but I don't think Odunze is going to be there. I don't think Neighbors is going to be there. So it could come down to like Thomas and Bowers. Then you have your choice. But I can understand the Bowers group. I mean, he's got like a fan base that's crazy. That's always promoting him. But I don't think it's a terrible idea by no means.
Hawk, what's up, bro? Fuaga or trade back and take Troy Fontano. What's funny, man, Troy's a lot like AVT. Like that's the easiest comparison because he, of course, like Pac-12 guy, but he's a guy who can kick out the tackle if you need him to, but maybe projects to the NFL more so as a guard. I feel like that's like the easiest thing that the first thing that jumps out whenever anybody watches him, it's just like, oh, that's an AVT kind of clone. And they're kind of projected to go right around, or he's projected to go right around that same spot, like mid round one. Yeah. I actually think the Seahawks make a ton of sense for him because I think at this point, like today, like March 18th, the Seahawks don't have a left guard on the roster. So I think he could, obviously step in and be a starter right off the bat. Yep. Should have got Minshew and Tyrod. Minshew got a lot of money though. That's the thing with the Raiders.
And Minshew wanted to play. He wanted to start. He wanted a chance to be a starter. That wasn't going to happen here.
Brock is like a Travis Kelce, Hernandez type of talent. That's the thing, man. Like with Brock Bowers, like as a receiving threat, dude is a playmaker. SEC defenses knew he was getting the football on like those third and longs, and they just still could not figure out how to slow him down.
Yep.
Which is insane. And dude, I appreciate the $2, man.
That's like you look at a lot of these NFL offenses. You see with Kelce and Kittle, all these offenses, Laporta, teams are featuring a tight end, and you figure Aaron Rodgers can do that. It's not a bad thing, man.
Alex, what's up, dude? Who's your favorite draft choices for the Jets coming out of the combine, and how has that changed since free agency? Okay, I see what you're saying. To be honest with you, I would say probably the only thing that's changed, and it's not to say I don't like the prospects anymore, I just don't know if they'd be the best fits, would be Talese Fuaga and JC Latham. I just don't really feel like to me, those guys are 100% ready to play right now, right tackle, potentially guard.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't want to take a guy like that at 10 and then just stash him on the bench for an entire season if I feel like he can play right now. It's another thing if he's a developmental guy and maybe like an Olu Fashanu where it's just like he can maybe benefit with like a half year on the bench, or something like that. But I do think that's probably my only thing that's changed. Just like trying to recall quickly, but every other position I still kind of feel the same about. I've always been high on Brian Thomas. All the receivers I still kind of feel the same way about.
I think not much has changed my priority. It's where it's like I was going to sell my soul for a great offensive lineman at pick 10. And now I'm like, you know what? I feel a lot more comfortable going at wide receiver.
So Tyson, we got Coach Sala in the chat, man.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite question. Here it is. We're giving Joe Douglas credit for getting all the pieces, right? We have a revamped offensive line. We have all this. Robert Saleh gets credit when he wins football games and goes to the playoffs. When has he won? He's won nothing. He's proven nothing as a head coach. I'm giving him zero credit. So you want to give him some credit for being a defensive coordinator? You're here to be a head coach. Make the playoffs, less excuses, less talk, more results. That's what I want. Until then, get no credit.
Yeah, more results are always a plus. I think we're trading down in the draft. Toads, what's up, dude? I could see that. I would actually like that, right? If we can slide back to like 13.
Sign me up.
But the question is, how far does if the first 3 picks are quarterbacks and Minnesota comes up to like 5 and they take a quarterback, I just don't know who would trade up at that point, with us specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anthony, what's up? Dude, thanks so much. Do you guys think we should prioritize extending Michael Carter or maybe look into drafting a slot corner this year? Slots have been getting paid. Dude, freaking great question, man. Who was it? Taron Johnson just got a huge contract from the Bills.
Yep.
Worth it, but good. I think it's like $10 million a year. They're nickelback. Where do you kind of stand on it, Tyson? What do you think? Extend or draft?
Pay the man. Pay the man. Pay the man. You have like take care of your young players, man. We just let Bryce Huff walk away. We know what this kid is, especially when you have Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed on the outside, and they were literally testing him, and he was facing music and answering it. Like he's a very good player. Pay the guy. Why not extend him? Get him done. Keep this young core together. I don't, and I understand you want to draft somebody. It's cheaper, this and that. The known commodity. You know what you have in the building. You know how good he is. A rising star, could be one of the better ones in the league. I keep him in the mix, man. I pay him.
Could not have said it any better, man. Could not have said it any better. I'm paying Michael Carter because, like you said, dude, like the draft, it's up in the air. You don't know.
Nope.
But I guess you can maybe push back and say you can upgrade, but that's a big kind of gamble. Clay, what's up, bro? Thanks so much, man. What do you think, or what would be? I can't read.
Your list of forgotten players.
Yeah, list of forgotten players. Mine would be Jeff Cumberland, Kyle Wilson, Matt Slauson, and Stephen Hill.
Are these players we want to forget, like D. Milner, guys like that? Vernon Golston.
Yeah, it's a good question too. I would say like most or guys that maybe like slipped my mind. Who is that corner that we got from Miami? Dimitri
Patterson.
Patterson. That was super forgettable.
We've had some doozies, man. There's a long list of guys even Tremaine Johnson you want to forget. I mean, there's so many that just bad signings over the years that you want to just not remember.
Yeah, you know what one slips my mind a lot is Jay Samaro.
Another one.
Quentin Copels.
Oh,
how about that?
Another one. There's some good ones.
Darren Lee.
Calvin Pryor's a good one.
See, dude, I love Calvin Pryor when you're big hitter, but he kind of flamed out pretty quickly. Darren Lee, you remember that?
Yeah, Darren Lee.
Crazy. But that was a cool question, man. Let's see. Dan, what's up, bro? While I see the appeal of having a potential mismatch nightmare with Bowers, we may not pick this high ever again or in a long time. Get your future left tackle at 10 or trade back for a tackle/guard plus round 2 wide receiver. I like the theory, man. I mean, I like that thought process.
But see, the question here is right now where the Jets are at, is Joe Douglas thinking about, I got to get my guy for the future, or am I worried about, I need an impact player at 10 to play this year and make an impact this year on the field? That's the question. Because right now it's like, all right, you want your future left tackle, your pick to sit on the bench all season long while you can have a receiver playing, Bowers playing. Like you'll see the results this year with Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where you're in an all-in win now year. Do you even have that luxury to do that and look about, oh, this is my guy for the future? I mean, you know he's not going to play week 1.
Yeah, that's true. So Saul is firing back. Tyson, I'll let you take it away.
You're instigating right now. You're instigating with me.
I'm just letting Coach have a voice here, man.
The coach can have a voice. But see, as my last comment, actions, speak louder than words. The words don't matter. Here's a question for Coach. How many games did he lose to last year that coaches that were actually fired last year? Let's play that game. Or he lost to an interim coach in Antonio Pierce. Arthur Smith he lost to, right? I mean, come on. Get it.
Yeah, a lot of coaches. Let's see. Vlad Dukas, man.
Another one. Yep.
Kerry Rhodes was the man, though.
He was good.
He was good. Chris Ivory was good. He really carried some of those offenses.
Wait, but Kerry Rhodes was a Pro Bowl talent safety until he got that big contract. Get the big contract, and then he turned Hollywood.
Yep. Clay, what's up? Yeah. Jay Samara from Clemson. I think Amara was from Texas Tech. Texas Tech. John Idzik, I believe. Dude, I appreciate that, man. 2018. Hell yeah, that's sick. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Tom, let's trade back into the first.
Ooh.
Let's trade back in the first. Get a second for this draft and some capital next year. So if we make a midseason trade because of need or injury, we have ammo to do it. I love the way of that thought process. The problem is it's hard to kind of pinpoint a team right now, like so early, like over a month away from the draft.
Yeah.
Because 10's a weird spot. Look, if we were at 2 or 3 or 5 or something like that, it would be different. But 10 is so weird. So like if somebody starts falling and a team in the back is just like, oh, I gotta have that player, then I can see something like that where they're down to give you their first this year, their second this year, and a future one. We did actually see that with so the Buffalo Bills had the 10th overall pick in 2017. It was either 10 or 11, but I believe it was 10. And the Chiefs came up for Mahomes. The Bills moved back to like 20 something, 26 or 27. They drafted Trey White, and then they got their first round pick, the Chiefs' first round pick in 2018, which I believe ended up being Josh Allen. So it kind of worked out in both, situations, but it would have to be something like that, right? Where a team has to fall in love with a player that's like on the board that's slipping. But it does seem like all the quarterbacks are going to be going like literally top, I want to say 6 or 7.
The other thing too is like I agree with the trade back, but I'm looking to do that because I want those 2 picks for this year. I want that second round pick to have a player that can contribute this year. I'm getting greedy, man. Like I'm all about. I love the future, but I'm all about the now. So
yeah. So Sala says it was only 3 at the most. Sometimes you got to get it wrong to get it right.
But you've been saying that every year. How many years are we gonna go through this?
Brad Smith, dude, the Wildcat man, Brad.
He was a good player.
The whole Wildcat package with like Rex and Brad Smith in the playoffs, it was crazy. Although it was just an automatic run every single time.
Yep. But versatile, returner, receiver, quarterback. He could do it all, man.
Yeah, he had some big time plays. So this is gonna be, I think, the last question. Then we're gonna bounce out of here. And then also too, if you guys are feeling like more the live stream style than the pre-recorded style, let us know. We're just trying to make the podcast like as cool and as interesting as possible. So whatever you guys want, we'll probably end up doing.
But bro, hold on a second. There's a mention in the chat. Quincy Enunwa, I loved.
Quincy
Enunwa was a phenomenal player. Great. He got the contract. He just couldn't stay healthy. But when he was healthy, he was an absolute force, man. Because he was fast, physical, and like he would just maul people, but he just couldn't stay healthy. Loved Quincy Enunwa, man. And the other thing too is he was a really great guy doing charity work too. He was constantly giving back in the community.
Yeah, and he was, I think, a mid-round, either a 5th or 6th round pick out of Nebraska, which was an Idzik find, actually. Aaron, I love Xavier, man. That dude's a freaking animal from South Carolina, dude. I know a lot of people are kind of talking or saying like, oh, late round 2, mid round 2. I would take him. I would, like, if I'm a team like the Bills or like the Chiefs at the bottom of round 1, the Ravens too, maybe, like I would consider it. Like speed, size, mean, violent, production, SEC performance, stats against the SEC. I really like Xavier Leggett, man.
But there's no way the Jets are going to get him though.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think so. Live. Yeah, Tyson, bro. I'm down for whatever, man.
I could do live. It's fun because we always talk and just do this, but now we get actually answer questions and do stuff and see what people think. And there's a lot of funny names in there, man. Blair Thomas and Lamb Jones. Jeremy Curley's another guy too, man, who was a very durable player over the years.
Yep. Santana Moss. But like when I'm thinking of like forgettable players, I'm thinking of guys that aren't like, because I loved Curley, I loved Moss. Yeah.
I can give you a list of forgettable players, man. I'm old. It's just because you think about all the bad free agent classes, all the draft classes that just bummed you out, and like you think about it. Look, what was the back to Ardarius Stewart and Chad Hansen, 2 guys where we hyped them up. That didn't work out, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else. Jalen Saunders, remember that? Pick 4th round. We drafted a receiver from UCLA that year too.
Oh, well, yeah, with Christian Hackenberg too, another disaster. Oh, the guy from UCLA, I could see him too. I knew exactly what you're talking about. Oh, there's just there's so many, man.
Another fantastic player, one of my favorite players ever.
Shaq Evans.
Yep. There you go. Isaiah Crowell.
Yep.
Yeah, one player that I feel like is pretty forgettable, but it's crazy because like he's legit one of my favorite players of all time. But forgettable with the Jets was CJ2K.
No.
I think, dude, I think nobody talk like when you think of Christian. I mean, obviously you think of the Titans, but
Yep.
no, like if you said like say that to people, they're like, bro, he wasn't on the Jets. Like
I remember
nobody
he was
thinks Chris Johnson was on the Jets.
Yep. I remember. Yeah. Percy Harvin's another good one.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to.
Dude, bro, we can do a whole hour stream just on this alone.
Bro, I loved Percy Harvin. Up for most of his career, you always like it's going to be the year. This is going to be the year, and it's just the headaches and everything else he dealt with.
Yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. We'll probably end up being back next week, whether it's on this channel or over on Tyson's channel.
Yep. We'll do them live, man. Live is fun.
Yeah, live is for sure, dude. It's really, really cool just kind of going back and forth, answering questions and stuff like that.
Hold on, there's a really good one there. Austin Safarian Jacobs was one because he kept getting touchdowns called back. But Frankie Louvu is interesting because he started to emerge with the Jets. He became a pass rusher, all that stuff. Do you see what he's doing now, man? The money he's making, he really emerged into a player right now. He's had a really good NFL career right now.
Yeah, he's like a bona fide starter, like unquestioned. He's really, really good.
And he started to blossom with the Jets. He started to get there, becoming a better pass rusher and stuff. And now it's like, dude, he's doing so. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Plexico. That was crazy. What year was that? 20.
He had that 3 touchdown game. 3 touchdowns against the Chargers, wasn't it?
Oh, Leon was not forgettable, man. That dude was a monster. Florida State, I believe. But all right, guys, I think we're gonna call it. Yeah, like I said, we'll probably end up being back next week over here or on your channel. But thanks so much for everybody hanging out, sticking around. And yeah, as always, go Jets, guys.